from our desk. It seems that we have lost another senator, former senator. We have lost another former senator, this time Tessie Aquino Oreta, who served as Philippine senator from 1998 to 2004. She has passed away. Her son, Malabon Mayor Lenlen Oreta, confirmed this on a Facebook post. We will try to reach out to representatives of the former senator or Mayor Oreta to get the details on this. Senator Oreta was a friend both to my father and to myself, and I remember that she would join our Bible study in Tanay during the time when former President Joseph Ejercito Estrada was detained there. And this is both a loss for the country and also a personal loss for myself. In any case, our prayers go to the Oreta family. We can only hope and pray that you will have the courage, the strength to carry on in spite of this great loss, and our prayers go with you. In any case, let's move on to today's program. As I pointed out, it's May 15, and May 15 has turned out to be our second disappointment in terms of actually being able to see the day when quarantine measures are lifted all over the country, particularly in the National Capital Region. Unfortunately, the reality of COVID-19 is it is such a horrible, almost demonic virus that has many doctors and scientists baffled. And as things progress, things seem to get more complicated. We will try to tackle that in future programs of agenda. But meantime, for today, we will be calling on Governor Ben Evardone, General Bernard Banac. We will get an update from PAGASA regarding Typhoon Ambo. We will speak with Mr. Jack Brazel of Turnitin, a remote education provider. And we will also have Bishop Manny Carlos and Francis Kong on the program, later on the program, because we also want to address the need for spirituality, questions about spirituality and religion in the time of COVID. In the meantime, allow me to read you the headlines and the news on the front page of the Philippine Star. On the headlines, Typhoon Ambo made landfall at around 12:15 in the afternoon yesterday in San Policarpio, Eastern Samar, according to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA. Ambo is the first typhoon to hit the country, and it maintained its strength as it continued to move over the northern portion of Samar province. And as such, Eastern Samar Governor Ben Evardone said that the province is facing a nightmare in providing shelter to residents displaced by the storm, because the provincial government previously converted the local evacuation centers into quarantine facilities for COVID-19 patients. We will speak with Governor Evardone later to check on their situation. The National Telecommunications Commission, or NTC, has apologized to lawmakers for catching them by surprise when it ordered ABS-CBN to immediately shut down its operations. In a letter to House Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano and Committee on Legislative Franchises Chairman Franz Alvarez, the NTC said it intended no disrespect to Congress when it issued the cease and desist order against ABS-CBN. But the agency also defended their move, saying that they did not want to encroach on the power of Congress to provide a license for ABS-CBN through a law. The House Committee on Legislative Franchises previously ordered the NTC to explain their reason for ordering the shutdown, or they would be cited for contempt. Earlier this week, the lower house approved on second reading the bill providing a provisional authority until October of this year for the broadcast giant. Tomorrow is the 16th of May, and Malacanang made it clear that the entire country will be under the less restrictive General Community Quarantine or GCQ except for Metro Manila, Cebu City, and Laguna. This even as some provinces and cities in central Luzon have asked to be placed under the stricter Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine or MECQ. The national government is currently reviewing these requests from local government units. Meanwhile, presidential spokesman Harry Roque said the public is still strongly encouraged to follow quarantine and health regulations such as wearing of face masks, social distancing, and avoiding mass gatherings. Speaking of mass gatherings and parties, NCRPO Chief Police Major General Debold Sinas, along with other participants in his birthday celebration last Friday, May 8th, are facing criminal charges. Palace spokesperson Harry Roque said that in his conversation with PNP Chief Archie Gamboa, a criminal case is set to be filed today against Sinas and his associates. Roque said that because Sinas is a presidential appointee, the PNP needed clearance from the office of the president before they could file charges. And we will check on that story with the Philippine National Police spokesperson General Bernard Banac. I don't know if he's already available, but okay, there we go. I think we have him online. General Banac, good morning to you, sir.
Yes, good morning, Brother Cito, and all our viewers. Good morning.
Okay, may we know what is the status of the I don't know if I can call it the case because I don't know if charges have been filed, but what is the situation of Major General Debold Sinas, General Banac?
Yes, Cito, the Internal Affairs Service of the Philippine National Police is set to complete their investigation on the birthday party of the Regional Director of NCRPO last May 8th. And if completed, they are about to file charges, both criminal and administrative charges against General Sinas and all those who were involved or who were present in the said party. And an action of the leadership of the Philippine National Police under Police General Archie Francisco Gamboa to show to the public that the PNP remains impartial and we implement the law, the guidelines of the ECQ for all, both the public and even the police. So no one is exempted under the guidelines or the rules of the community quarantine. So
Okay.
this is the assurance that we can give to the public, Cito.
Okay. General Banac, could you confirm, can you confirm and identify that there are two other generals who are currently being investigated, if there are, and who are they?
Well, at this point, we don't have the details yet, and but we expect that the investigation will be able to cover them, and the Internal Affairs Service will present the details of their investigation once they have completed it this morning or within today. And now, as for the number of those involved, and even ranks or we have no details as of yet, Tito.
Okay, I respect that. Now, last question, General Bernard Banac. There is this issue that the Rappler reporter who was covering the NCRPO was booted out or removed from the NCRPO Public Information Office Viber group or group chat. And the speculation is this is in retaliation for Rappler exposing or writing about the birthday party of Major General De Bolsinas. What can you say about this, General Banac?
Yes, Tito, we have received a report also on that incident, and we will see what really happened, and we would like to invite also the affected party if they would like to lodge formal complaint so that we can act on the report, and of course we don't want this thing to be disregarded. So we want to take notice of this, and we consider all members of the media as our partners in our mandate in a peace and order. So it's very effective that we have the media always, anytime we need them, and especially in disseminating information. So it is unfortunate that something of this kind happened, and we will look into this stuff.
Okay, well, thank you very much, General Banac, and I am sure that the case of the Major General De Bolsinas will take its course, but more importantly, that we should ensure that the PIO officers understand that walang personalan, this is all part of the job, and the coverage for the PNP, particularly at this time, many of your associates are doing such a fine work that this should not make things worse. In any case, thank you, General Banac, and please stay strong, stay safe, and stay healthy, and God bless you.
Thank you, Brother Cito, and God bless you.
Okay, that's General Bernard Banac, and we basically just wanted to confirm and find out what the situation is. So this is now proof that yes, as difficult as things may be, the situation is such that we are all under the law. We are all subject to the law, and even the Philippine National Police, of course, understandably, they have they want to support each other. But at the end of the day, the public sentiment and the facts speak out. And this situation where charges will now be filed against Major General De Bolsinas, it's unfortunate. Tao lang naman sila, tao lang tayong lahat. But at the end of the day, it is proof that when the public speaks out, when media speaks out, particularly social media, the government and the authorities do listen and do act. Belatedly perhaps, but they do act. And mind you, it's not as bad as some situations, particularly abroad, where I just can't remember the guy's name right now. A jogger was shot by two men, and a black jogger, a black man at that, was jogging in a neighborhood. He was confronted by a father and son team, and the son shot the guy with a shotgun. And it took the local authorities there in the U.S. 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 months before they actually made an arrest, only because the father had worked with local authorities. So even in the great nation of the United States, justice can be delayed. But nonetheless, justice will be served, and I guess fair is fair. If people drinking in the street corner or in the squatters area are arrested for violating ECQ, then I guess it only follows that even those who violate it will in the PNP will have to what you call it will have to face the consequences. Now, I don't know. I don't know if you are one of those who actually got this alert from the from NDR RMC or somewhere at 2 in the morning. Okay, our phones just started ringing, and we were all, we all jumped out of bed because we didn't know it wasn't our familiar phone buzz, but it was an alert at 2:30 in the morning to tell us the situation of the typhoon. Now, one of these days, we hope to get a word from the authorities and the telcos, because it was rather alarming, and it was such that the alert could have given a person with a medical condition a heart attack or a stroke, because it was just so startling. In any case, if you were one of those who got that alert and got the sleep or got the shock of your life, let us know about it. We'll go for a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, good morning, Jack.
Good morning, sir. How you going?
I'm fine. What's your nationality? Are you Australian or British?
I'm Australian, so currently I'm
Okay.
in Bangkok at the moment, but Jakarta is my
Okay, you're back here on agenda, and we now have on the line Governor Ben Evardone of Eastern Samar. Governor, I hope you're there. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Cito. Good morning to all the televiewers.
Okay, Governor, I know you've got so much on your hands, so I'll try to make it as quick as possible. What is the situation in your area of responsibility at the moment?
Well, right now the typhoon has already subsided, but there are still heavy rains right now. I'm on my way to four municipalities which are isolated because first there is no electricity, second there is no telephone communication lines, even outdoor radio, emergency radio cannot penetrate because apparently the transmitter or the transmitter were the typhoon. Yesterday I formed a group to penetrate these towns, but they were not able to penetrate because the roads leading to these towns were blocked by trees and other materials. So right now I'm on my way there. Hopefully we will be able to penetrate. We don't know the situation, but that's why we are a little bit worried.
Okay, Samar is a veteran, is a regular track for typhoons. In comparison to past typhoons, Governor, how was this one in terms of damage and in terms of fatalities? We're hoping wala namang namatay, but gaano kalala ang damage na ginawa ni Ambo sa Eastern Samar?
Well, compared to other strong typhoons just like Yolanda and Ruby, this is, I think, totally has a lesser damage. But what is more worrisome or complicated in this problem is that we are also facing the COVID crisis here. We have converted all our evacuation centers into ligtas COVID centers. So we cannot accommodate evacuation centers anymore because most of them are designed for one person only.
Okay, so
Secondly,
yeah.
also have to bring the evacuees to the other classrooms, but we have also the challenge of how to observe social distancing. So this is a little bit complicated here, because of the issue of COVID also.
Okay, do you have any message to the national government or to your friends, or to our viewers who might want to help in the recovery? May mga shortages ba? Ano ang mga kailangan dyan? Paano makakatulong ang national government and the rest of the country, the Filipinos?
Salamat, Cito. Actually, sa ngayon po, ang urgent po namin, pagkain sa mga evacuation centers. Ang normal na situation when there is economic, normally, the first line of defense that distributes food packs are the barangays, at the province, and then after that, the national government comes in. But in this case, most of our food packs are already depleted because we have been distributing food packs since day one of the COVID crisis, so almost 2 months already.
Mm-hmm.
So we really appreciate the national government, especially the regional office at PSWD can release some food packs immediately to the evacuees. Siguro. Secondly, siguro yung susunod ay mga infra damage at saka yung sa agriculture. Marami kami nasira dito ng mga mga fishing boats dahil we're facing the Pacific. At hindi namin inakala na ganito palakas yung una kasing palabas ng PAGASA o ng forecast nila yung mga 65 lang. 20 per hour. Alam mo naman, kasi hindi naman sa pag-iabang,
pag ganun lang, parang ano na sa amin yun dahil nga sanay kami sa bagyo. But it turned out that yesterday morning, yung madaling araw, naging 150 na hanggang 190. So, immediately after that, nag-order na po tayo ng forced evacuation. Kaya medyo nagka-problema po tayo ng konti dahil din sa sudden change ng veracity, ng velocity ng Typhoon Ambo. So, anyway po, kung matutunan po kami ng pagkain po, we will really appreciate it.
Okay, in terms of evacuees and relocation, sabi ninyo na yung mga evacuation center ninyo ay puno na ng mga COVID quarantine patients. Saan ninyo nilagay yung mga forced evacuees ninyo?
Sa ibang classrooms, hindi naman patients sa Cito, no? Yung mga evacuation centers namin, meron lang ilan kami na mga suspect, no? Pero wala pong mga yan. Pero nakahanda na yan for one
COVID.
person only per unit. So it cannot really accommodate mass evacuation. So ang ginawa namin, sa other classrooms na namin sila, that of course we have to ensure the social distancing protocol also.
Okay, how soon will you be able to restore power? Gaano kalawak yung power outage dyan sa Eastern Samar, and how soon will they be able to restore the power?
Kahapon po hanggang gabi, tuloy-tuloy po yung restoration. Kasi total blackout po kami yesterday. But in some areas now, there are already power. So hopefully, I don't know, it will depend also on how badly damaged these areas that are going to. So I don't know. Hopefully, ma-restore sana nga today or tomorrow.
Okay, may panggastos ka pa ba, Governor? Kasi yung COVID-19 lang, most LGUs, most provinces, na-side na yung kanilang resources. And given the expenditure for COVID-19, do you have any money left or funds left to address the damage or destruction caused by Typhoon Ambo on your province?
Well, that's a very good question. Actually, to be honest, talagang dito na rin talagang resources po namin. In fact, I had to realign some of my budgets for other projects and programs for this COVID. So, nakatulong nga po yung bigay ng Malacanang na one-half equivalent ng 1 month hirap na namin. But despite of that, talagang kulang na po kami. We have to give hazard pay to our frontliners. Maybe about 20 million we need to give for that. We're also giving 2,000 to the families who are not recipients of the social amelioration, and we need 6 million for that. At yung binigyan naman po ng Malacanang ng half na hira ng probinsya, binigay ko po sa mga hospitals na sa pambitan ng PPEs, ventilators, etc. Etc. ng mga COVID-related items po. So, talagang, to be honest, we are already starting for funds. Pero hopefully, I will be able to manage this. Ang kaso ko lang po, wala mabubutan ng mga kapayan na namin dito.
Okay, in any case, Governor, last question ko na lang po. Kamusta naman po yung supply chain for Eastern Samar? You are in comparison to many provinces furthest from the kitchen, so to speak. Kayo yung pinakamalayo sa kusina. Kung pag-uusapan natin ng mga supplies, nakakarating naman ba yung mga supplies diyan? Makakarating ba? Is Eastern Samar accessible by land or whatever, or barado pa rin ang mga daanan?
Hello?
Yes, Governor. I can hear you.
Opo. Yes.
Accessible ba ang Eastern Samar for supplies in terms of fuel and equipment, etc. na kung kailangan padalan kayo diyan?
Oo. Any form of support that people will be appreciated. Ito lang. COVID-related supplies or pagkain or tubig, we will appreciate talaga po.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Governor Ben Evardone. And sayang po kasi I wanted to also tackle that issue about the quarrying of a Chinese company in your area. But maybe we can discuss that at a later date pag medyo nakabawi na kayo dyan sa paninira ni Ambo and your COVID concerns. Thank you very much, Governor Ben Evardone. May you stay strong, stay safe, and stay healthy.
Salamat din po. Thank you.
Okay, that's Governor Ben Evardone of Eastern Samar. In the lingo of shooters, they are now suffering from a double tap because they got hit by COVID-19, and as the good governor mentioned, and honestly, he was saying their funds are depleted. Even the 1.5 month era, I don't know if it was 1.5 months, but he was referring to an advance allocation of the internal revenue allotment. That's also gone, and so we will have anyone. I don't know, because ngayon medyo ang issue pag nag-volunteer ka, pumunta ka, baka mahuli ka kasi you need to ask permission from the DSWD before you do volunteer work and donations. We'll get back to that. But in the meantime, we'll now go from Eastern Samar. Let's go to Thailand, where our next guest, just to sort of align ourselves, we are also concerned about education in the Philippines. What will education be? And we have on the line our next guest, Jack Brazel. He's good morning to you, Jack.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I understand you are in Thailand, and you look, your signal is so great and your audio is so great. I'm envious. In any case, Jack, we reached out to you because your company is in the business of remote education. Can you kindly give us more background on what you guys do? Your company is Turn It In, right?
That's correct. So Turn It In, we're a global education company that helps institutes right around the world develop their key academic integrity skills, such as the prevention of plagiarism in students' work and the development of students' critical thinking skills.
Okay, carry on.
So in the Philippines, what we've been doing for the last 4 years is that we can see some really interesting trends. So academic integrity is the most important one. So universities are realizing that we need to consider that work is original from the students and that they're developing their critical thinking skills. So what we've been doing during this time is been partnering with a lot of those universities and helping them move the needle in developing those procedures on the prevention of plagiarism in their universities.
Okay, now is plagiarism such a big issue nowadays? Is it something that people get into intentionally? Because I am of the thinking that a lot of kids now, because they're using the same platform, tend to read the same stuff over and over. It just repeats itself like Facebook, and there comes a point when you actually end up thinking it's your idea.
Sure. So what we do and what we're helping Filipino universities do, and they've made great progress over the last 5 years, we're teaching them how to craft a really good paper that will help them get ready for the future. So what our system is able to do is actually highlight words where they haven't interpreted the information correctly. And that highlight will help instructors guide their students to develop better writing skills, which is critical. And also what we like to think is that by providing these key tools, we're helping develop Filipino society because we're developing, like you said, critical thinking. We're allowing people to evaluate information fairly in their own mind, put it all together, and then actually come up with an opinion of their own, rather than copying something from the internet and just using that. We want to develop thinkers in the world.
Okay, now there have been test surveys, excuse me, in the past where there's been an issue or challenge on the Filipinos' comprehension abilities or standards. Now, I'm sure before you introduced your services, your products, you've done a survey or assessment of the Filipino student in general, or Filipinos for that matter. Where are we in terms of understanding information, appreciating information?
So what I can say is really the Filipino government's taken a really positive step because they've made that data positive and they're highlighting that problem. And what I've seen in the last 4 years, in particular in higher education, is that people are knowing this issue. They're developing policies, procedures. One key policy has been around work must be original. And then at the same time, what we're seeing is the development of the instructors, because the instructors have a really important role to develop key writing skills, so comprehension, citation, original thinking, and being able to put that into your own word. I've seen really good progress over the last 5 years to help sort of fix those problems. And I think it's a really great sign in the Philippines that the government's facing these problems head on and they're working to overcome it.
Okay, now let's shift to the critical thinking phase, because you may not be aware of it. I'm married to a lady from the Netherlands, and we're connected with a wide group of expats. And critical thinking is something that they constantly point out that's needed in the Philippines. Now, can you put things in context? Because critical thinking seems to come in conflict with the Asian way of living. It's like, don't ask, just do, follow your father, follow your mother. This is how our society works. And
Sure.
critical thinking is not something that's, really promoted.
Right, understood. So I think where we need to go to in Asian society is what instructors have to encourage people to do is actually undertake the process of research and encourage them to feel safe in the development of an opinion after reviewing the research and then using key skills to cite. So look at everything that's out there. So cite, explain where they got their opinions from, but feel safe to make a comment about the question at hand.
Okay, now how does your system promote critical thinking?
Because what our system does, regardless if it's in a remote or face-to-face setting, if it's used correctly, what we can get our institutes doing is the instructors can send students off on that journey of research, questioning the research, thinking, and then they put it all together into the system, and then they can actually review the data and see if they've actually interpreted it written it correctly without plagiarizing it.
Okay, but how do you reconcile the generational gap? I've got a 19-year-old daughter, and when I listen in to her and her friends doing their work, the way they communicate, and the kind of stuff they listen to, I must say it's quite mature, but it's unfiltered. And I
Sure.
come from a generation where you speak to me in an unfiltered manner, and you will find 5 fingers.
Absolutely.
That has always been the conflict of 2 generations. How do we resolve that? How do we explain cultural concept of respect for elders, but at the same time explain to the elders that this is the new way?
Sure. So I think what we need to do, obviously, I come from Australia, so I have a different upbringing compared to say a Filipino upbringing, and also at the same time there are advantages between the Asian approach and disadvantages to, I suppose, what the Australian education system did. But I suppose focusing it back to academic integrity, what we need to do is the community needs to bring it back up to what constitutes good writing. Also, at the same time, we need to think about how can we teach students to form an opinion when they're researching things for their studies. So, for instance, being able to review the literature and feel safe to make that comment if they're citing the content correctly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, what is, do you have a successful business model, or what are the incentives for people who've tried this, or for people to try this? Because, I mean, I'm sure, hey, white guy with white education concept, we are Asian, why should we try it? What evidence do you have? I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like,
understood. Yeah. So look, let me bring it back to the trends that we could actually see developing in the Philippines. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the Filipino community could see that there was a problem of academic integrity in the higher education system, and the Philippine system over the last 5 years, they've been developing their policies and procedures to actually prevent academic integrity and develop those critical thinking skills we talked about. And then the great thing is, Filipino customers are actually coming to us because they can see the weaknesses in what's already happening, and they can see our tool playing a key part in preventing that. And another big thing is, with the current COVID situation, we can see obviously the need for remote learning. And again, Filipino customers are asking that question, how are we going to achieve academic integrity if the student's not in the room? So what we can see is we're actually servicing the trends that Filipino customers are actually wanting to fix. They're aspiring to go ahead. And a great advantage, what we're seeing recently, is a lot of Filipino academics are traveling abroad, and they can see some of the advantages of our approaches to academic integrity, assessment design, things like that. And they're bringing that knowledge back. But at the same time, they're actually localizing it. They're making the Filipino style. We're not sort of, telling them what to do. And the great thing about it, over the last 5 years, the progress that Philippine institutes have made, the customers I've seen, has been fantastic.
Okay, well, I'll leave it at that, Jack, but I'm sure that some of our viewers are from the Department of Education. A few of our friends do own their own educational institutions. So I'm sure you could expect a few calls from them. And in the meantime, we hope you will continue to stay in touch and let us know if there are new developments, particularly with remote education now becoming more of the reality than the dream. Thank you very much, Jack, and do stay safe, stay strong, and stay healthy. And Thailand, you better be careful, my friend, because COVID is everywhere. God be with you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
That's Jack Brazel of Turn It In, and we will continue to explore these programs, particularly with with our EP, who is a former teacher turned executive producer, but his passion continues to promote education, and so do we. And now we will now go to our next guest. There's timeout. I have to set this up. Everybody's been talking about health, money, talking about business continuity, talking about staying indoors, etc., etc. But for some strange reason, we rarely talk about spirituality, religion, and God in the COVID conversations. There have been taped prayers and a lot of religious activities online, but as a country, we seem to not have done what our elders have done in the past in the face of pandemics and disasters, which is to call for National Day of Prayer. I mean, really, National Day of Prayer, led by no less than the president, the vice president, everyone just setting aside their differences and going to God. And now there's questions about why did God allow this, etc. So let's bring in Francis Kong. Yeah, he's a regular on the agenda, friend of the program. And I don't know if we'll be joined by Bishop Manny Carlos of Every Nation. There we go. Bishop Manny Carlos, good morning to you, sir.
Hello, Bishop Manny.
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Hello, Cito and Francis. Good morning.
Okay, good morning,
morning.
gentlemen. And let me set this up. I'm just kind of swamped by all the information. We're already on the second month. We've ended the second month of COVID-19, and everything. Everyone talks about everything except God, religion, spirituality, and then I also hear from some people, if God is good, why do we have COVID-19? Is God trying to punish us? Is God trying to reduce the population? What is that? And everybody keeps talking about reboot. So maybe I'll start with you, Francis. How difficult is it to motivate people in time of COVID-19, and what's the feedback that you're getting out there?
Well, in the first place, change is happening like crazy. Halimbawa, meron tayong ECQ, ngayon may GCQ, meron tayong barbecue sa init ng panahon. Pero now it's changing again. I mean, if you take a look at it, I always remind myself that Philippines is a country with 4 seasons. Hot, hotter, hottest, flood. Nandun na tayo.
Okay.
And so change can be disorienting. And at the same time, a lot of people do not understand. They feel like they have to be motivated in order to be positive, which is never my work in the first place. And lagi yung tinatawag na motivational speaker, kinakabahan tuloy ako. Baka akala ng mga audience mo si Chinky Tanto. No? So,
Hindi, milyonaryo si Chinky.
So Chinky is so positive, he loves his way into the bank. So, ang sa akin lang naman, ang feeling ko is that we want to educate people, equip people, and challenge the intellect of the people to discover thoughts that can make them become self-motivated. So, that's still what I do. I think what we have to understand right now is that the methodology from on ground, alam mo, disoriented din eh. Cito, I average about 300 talks and seminars and trainings every year.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, everything is gone. So you have to switch eh. Ngayon, here's one thing I'd like to remind myself and every person is that the methodology may have changed. Kasi webinar na tayo ngayon online, no? The methodology may have changed, but the mission remains the same. You don't change the mission. Kaya pareho pa rin naman yan.
Okay, so the mission doesn't change, whatever it is. I'm a journalist, I'm a broadcaster. My mission is to inform and give proper education. Now, let's go to Bishop Manny Carlos. Bishop Manny, what is your experience, or what have you seen in the last 60 days regarding COVID-19 and spirituality and religion?
Cito, kasi yung the nature kasi of my work is as a minister of the gospel, and so when you're talking about spirituality, that's really I guess that's the realm of work that I do, is to preach, to teach the Word of God, the Bible, and to help people have the perspective of God with what's happening. And certainly very valid yung question mo. If God is a good God, that's why is this happening to us? It's a question that's been asked already many generations ago to this day. So rather than just simply answering that question, I think what's more important is how do we respond now that this is upon us. And so, siguro, to put things in perspective, this is not the first time that an epidemic or pandemic of this magnitude has happened on the earth. Di ba yung madalas mabalita ngayon yung Spanish flu of 1918, and then
Yeah.
of course plagues in the past. And so I think we can learn from two things. We can learn from the scriptures, from the Bible, and we can learn also from history. Now, certainly, because of the rapid the information age we're living in, diba? It's so instant, the feedback and all that's happening. So, yung speed of information transmission is so quick na it doesn't give us time to, to reflect perhaps, and also to see how to take stock of things. And so, I think the answer to your question is, I think it is very important that we humble ourselves before God and ask for His strength and for His grace. And prayer is always not the last. To me, prayer is not the last resort, but the first resort. Because when we do that, then we put ourselves in a place where we're not relying on our own strength. Kasi ang tingnan natin ng society natin, the world has accomplished so much, isn't it? I mean, the knowledge that we have perhaps just this century is greater than the whole 2,000 years the last 2,000 years. So I think marami na kasi tayong na-accomplish sa mundo na, in humanity, that we think that this can be solved. That's perhaps why maybe there's no reference to God, as you were saying.
Yes.
And I think that's an important observation. But I think we're realizing this cannot be, I don't know of any world leader who's fully in control of the situation. Can you imagine South Korea? Kakakontrol pa lang nila, and then one guy who goes wild on the nightclub scene brings all these infections. So I'm just saying the spiritual dimension of this crisis we're saying is so vital to how we can face. And I believe, as Francis also said, yung perspective natin, I think we need to go back to the mission pa rin and the purpose for why we are in this earth, at least from God's perspective, and then we can respond in faith rather than in fear.
Yeah, but let's localize it, because in the past, and I'm revealing my age here, I have seen time and again na pag tinamaan ng indulto ang Pilipinas, disasters, typhoons, there is a regular call of all church leaders let us call for a Friday of prayers, etc. Ironically, in COVID-19, I have not heard that the church leaders all got together, whether online or however, and say, magdasal na tayong lahat kasi may problema talaga tayo. What has happened, ironically, is it's media who is now airing, yung mga radio stations, TV stations, nag-air ng pre-recorded prayers. And I'm like, paano ba ito? Maybe I'm just being an old guy. Why is it that it's now electronic and it is all parang kanya-kanya? Francis, you were mentioning something about the many church leaders focusing on their immediate body of followers or parishioners as against nationally united.
Yes, that's true. As a matter of fact, survey has been coming out that the great majority of American churches have declared bankruptcy na, So compared to the previous pandemics and other crises, you never ever had an experience of having vacant gatherings. So lahat affected. And some churches did very well. As a matter of fact, I'm not saying this because Bishop Manny is here, but ang bilis ng response ngayon ng every nation by offering their main places for the healthcare workers, and that doon mo makikita ngayon Christianity in action. And sometimes when you see that in action, it speaks louder than words. What is affected really are high maintenance structures wherein the worry now of the offerings and the tithes come in. So they have their own problems on their own. And siguro sa kanila is how do I get my people so that they want shepherd kasi sila eh. They care for their people as well. Pero I do agree. I think this is one of those important times wherein the leaders of the country, whether we talk about faith-based or kaya our government, should get together and encourage. There should be a day of prayer. And because these are things beyond our control. And then to segue to what Bishop Manny said, importante po kasi sa bilis ng technology, it was just about 7 months ago when we thought that humanity can conquer space and we are the be-all and end-all of everything because of technology. Now it has placed us in a position of understanding, no, we're not. We're not the gods of the universe. There is still a creator behind all of this, and there is a God, and we may not know his purpose, but for now, but eventually when you look back at historical events, you always see the positive side of things happening beyond this. I'm not diminishing the gravity of the situation, but what I'm saying is, if you take a macro look dun sa sitwasyon na to, minsan darating ang araw at sasabihin mo, kaya naman pala nangyari to eh. Ngayon ko lang naintindihan. Yeah.
Okay, now I've noticed Bishop Manny, during COVID-19, I noticed that a lot of people became more open as far as their faith, their spirituality or religion is concerned. You now hear, in fact, in America, a place where you don't mention the word God except among religious circles, there is now more open expression of the term God bless you and we'll pray for you, etc. Why is it that people started, beginning to open up? What caused it all? What's your thoughts on that?
Sure. Well, I think Francis already alluded to it earlier, no? Kasi when we think we can accomplish things by ourselves, we don't really need God. But when there are things beyond our control, then we realize our own limitations, our own vulnerability, our own mortality. And so that's when we become open. Last year, we did a series preaching ng church namin on Imago Dei, the image of God. And kung titignan nyo, when God made man and woman, he made him in his image, in his likeness. So that's the highest dignity that you can offer to humanity, isn't it? That you reflect, that you can reflect God himself, in his attributes, in his character, not in his infiniteness, but we are eternal beings. And so because of that, we were given a most important responsibility, and that is to take care of the earth and to bring glory to him and advance his kingdom. And yet, ito yung contrast. I never saw this until we studied this. We were made in God's image, yet we are also made of dust, isn't it? Yeah. In other words, di ba kinuha tayo sa lupa, di ba? That's how God fashioned Adam. So think about it. We're God's image, but we're dust at the same time. We have dignity and glory, but we have frailty, di ba? So the point is, apart from God, we are nothing. But with God, we can do great things. And so I think what's happening is I think we're quickly realizing we're just dust. Abo lang po tayo. Wala tayong, pag wala ang Diyos sa buhay natin, wala tayong kakayahan, ito hindi natin masosolve to eh. Vaccine, sure, vaccine's been used in history, but until that thing has happened, diba? And we're still thinking, and when you think about a vaccine in the first place, it's still our body that is, diba? It's the antibodies, it's still your immune system that creates it. So the point is, all the medical field can do is simply to help the human body fight off this virus. So
you mentioned something, Bishop Manny and Francis, just join in on this, because you mentioned the word medical, and the general tendency, and normally of course, is to address COVID-19 as a medical pandemic. It is something to do with medicine, and the approach has to be medicine. It is a disaster, and therefore it has to be about crisis management, etc., and mitigation. Now, what about the thought or the idea? God is allowing this because he is mad. He is allowing this because, as you pointed out, we are supposed to take care of the environment, but we mess that up. We are supposed to take care of our bodies, but many of us have become morbidly obese, drugs, alcohol, etc. And we are supposed to have families to nurture and honor, but we spent more time in the offices than with the families. And now God has caused all of this. Na the environment, the pollution is clearing up. We are now with families, and we are now realizing na kung pwede lang ako mag-exercise, makalakad, maglalakad ako. What are your thoughts that God is allowing this? Kasi parang allergic, parang people are kind of worried or afraid to address the question.
Would you like me to share my thoughts there? Yeah, kasi, well, in the first place, kasi, while we are so totally focused on the medical side of the issue, assuming we survive, because most of us will survive the virus, what about the issue about shattered spirits afterwards? Every time there's an economic downturn, there's a spike in suicide, depression, and yung dreams lang ng mga kabataan ngayon, sira na eh. Diba? They were supposed to enter into a growing economy and their jobs are just there waiting for them and then everything is gone. Now, secondly, it is not, it's when we say that all of these things are happening because God is mad, it goes against scriptures then because His mercies triumph over judgment and God is God of love. However, if we take a look at scriptures, alam mo, maraming natatakot dun sa book of Job. Favorite ko yan eh. Sabi nga ni Job, if you take a look at sa buhay ni Job, ganda-ganda ng buhay niya. Pero yung anak niya, ay, yung kanyang farm and everything was destroyed by natural evil. Dumating yung bagyo, dumating yung... and then yung ibang mga tao niya pinatay. That's moral evil. There is always natural and moral evil. And the crazy thing about life is this. When we experience blessings, we credit it to our own accomplishment. But when we encounter difficulties, we always find someone to blame. And usually we say, God, if you're good, why would you allow this to happen? And so I wouldn't think that this is because God is mad. Because had God been mad, we all would have been extinguished a long time ago. But He showed us mercy. So we have to understand, as Bishop Manny would say, understand His attribute, know Him. Not just to know about Him, but really seriously know Him so that we can have a proper perspective on the things that are happening right now.
Yeah, but Francis, I'm an Old Testament guy. Old-timer kasi, old schooler. But, but the fact is, I mean, there have been many occasions in the past where God got really pissed off and said, just burn them all. Don't even come to me. Don't even pray for these people because they have idolized everything from animals to trees to statues, their work, their so pabayaan mo na sila. So what I'm saying is the Old Testament God I know gets mad, gets offended. Yes, He's forgiving, but He also resets. In fact, that's what He did in the book of Noah's Ark, di ba? He reset the entire world. Now, Pastor Manny, anong palagay mo dito sa dialogue natin na ito? I'm not trying to start a religious war here, but I think people need to realize or be reminded that we are also accountable for our heaven and our hell under the plans of the great and mighty God. What's your thoughts on this?
Sure. sige, kanina, yung pinakikinggan ko nga yung pinag-uusapan nyo, you were asking the question, is this a judgment from God? I think another perspective that will hopefully answer that question is, we live in a fallen world. In other words, all that's happening to us, as I said, has already happened in the past. And as Francis said, if God were really angry at us, then we wouldn't even be here. The point is, we are reaping the consequences of a fallen world. And so when you say a fallen world, bumalik po ito dun sa ating mga ninuno, si Adam and Eve. Unfortunately, when they did not trust God and disobeyed, di ba, it set in motion, unfortunately, the corruption of the earth. In fact, yun yung sinasabi ni Apostle Paul no, sa Romans 8:18. Sabi niya, for the creation was subjected to frustration, not by but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself would be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and the glory of the children of God. Now, that's a whole message in and of itself. My point is, because God gave man and woman the responsibility for taking care of the earth, kung ano yung pagkakamali nung unang yung mga ninuno natin, yun yung may effect rin sa creation. So,
precisely my point, Manny. We are simply repeating the sins and the failures and the mistakes of our ancestor going all the way back to Adam. The question is, what do we do with the situation? Because the positive thing in all of this that I've seen is that more people are praying, more families are praying together, and as Francis pointed out correctly, there are churches like yours who are now actually have set up morning devotions, midday devotions. I mean, sabi ko nga sa column ko, 2 dasal pa, Muslim na tayo. 5 days na tayo. 5 times na tayo magdasal sa isang araw, di ba? We become prayerful as a people. But the question is, can we still, because we're talking spiritual, ladies and gentlemen, we are not talking just Bible here or religion or pragmatic solutions. But on the spiritual realm, can Filipinos still do something to appease God, assuming that, hey, God said, okay, you messed up the kitchen, because you made such a mess, now there's germ, bacteria, etc. O bahala kayo, magkasakit kayo dyan. Can we wave the white flag? Kasi yung old school approach ko is, if all of us just come together and say, sorry God, sorry Papa, medyo kasalanan namin to. But I'm not seeing that. I'm still seeing pockets and individuals, and parang, what will it take for us to realize we're all in this together? If we are going to heal as one, we need to pray as one. Sorry, para na akong pastor nito, nahahawa ko sa inyo. No, because it's so frustrating. I mean, 60 days. 60 days. Parang ko nakulong.
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bishop.
Remember, what is the scripture that we used decades ago when, where we're, during the People Power Revolution, diba? And now it's a very timely scripture again. If my people, 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins and heal their land. And what a very appropriate scripture to apply in our lives. So, humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. I think yun yung mahalaga doon, yung turning from your wicked ways. It's really repentance, di ba? Yung manumbalik tayo sa Panginoon, kung ano yung mga pagkakasalang ginagawa natin.
But we need to do it. We need to do it as a nation, as a people. Kasi may mga nagsabi na sa akin Kuyang, everyone is praying, but are they repenting? And then another one pointed out is, why is our why are our priests, pastors, ministers, and national leaders not showing enough humility to say this is beyond us, magsama-sama na lang tayo and mag-appeal na rin tayo kay Lord?
Yeah. I
It's,
think
Francis,
please.
go ahead, Francis.
I'd like to point out something very modern and contemporary that we also have to watch out for. Ako naman, tuwang-tuwa ako, nasa Pilipinas tayo. Our sense of the presence of God is still very strong. But you got to take a look at the lesson of 911. When 911 happened, there was a spike in spirituality. Churches began to be filled. I remember one book became a best-selling book. That's the Prayer of Jabez at that time. And then everybody is so happy saying that there's a spiritual revival and so forth and so on. But that lasted only for a few months. Later on, that kind of sentiment turned into the negative. They begin to say, ang nangyari kasi dito sa trahedya ng 911 is because of these fundamentalist people of a different faith destroying the lives of people. And then when you take a look at the progression, or rather the opposite of progress, which is they suddenly brand anything that's fundamental as something evil. Kaya nagsuffer din yung churches. So every time they come across a pastor saying things that goes against the grain of their thought, they would brand them right away as fundamentalists kasi kaya yan. So all fundamentalists are evil. So we have to, we should not repeat history, we should learn from history. And we have to understand that prayer should also be something that is from the heart addressed. While people say that where is God in all of this, you know what? God is always accessible through the person of Jesus Christ. And that is the faith that we should build in. But as a businessman, ito naman ang sa akin. You have to hold on to your faith while you face the brutal facts. Faith is not the pie in the sky thing saying na hindi dapat we should have a perfect world. This is a fallen world, as Bishop Manny would say. But we have to hold on to that. And then we face the brutal facts as well.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to leave it at this because the apo of Francis Kong is demanding attention.
Come here, come.
Nangiinggit ka lang, Francis.
Yes.
That is the of the generation of the country. Ayan, yung apo ni Francis Kong. Okay.
I have an unfair advantage over you, Cito. While you're going through cabin fever and still crazy, ako naman, I enjoy every day playing with this guy. His name is Mateo, and everybody calls him the chairman.
Okay, Chairman Mateo, we will have to say goodbye. Bishop Manny Carlos, thank you very much for your insights. And I do pray, hope, wish, and aspire lahat na all the bishops, pastors, ministers, priests, even the president, the vice president, will all come to realize that this is not a sign of weakness. Praying together, asking God for forgiveness for the way we've mismanaged all our resources and our nation is not a sign of weakness, but rather it is calling out to God to help us in spite of ourselves. Thank you, gentlemen. And I wish you all the best. Please stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, and God bless all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Okay, that's Francis Kong and Bishop Manny Carlos and Chairman Mateo and I don't know, nakakaingit talaga yung makita yung apo, no? But in any case, let's go from I just want to make a clarification, okay? We're not trying to be preachy, we're not trying to be ultra-religious, but we will tackle every topic, we will address every issue and suggestion. And faith is an integral part of survival and stability of any society. Whether you agree or disagree, that's your option. In any case, let's go for the weather update. We have with us Chris Perez of PAGASA. Chris, Good morning, Chris, and thank you for joining us this morning. You look great. Can you please give us an update on Typhoon Ambo? Ano na nangyari, kaibigan?
Yes, good morning din po Mr. Beltran at sa lahat po nating taga-subaybay. So as of 4 o'clock or around 4:25, 7:45 this morning ay naglandfall na dito sa may bandang San Andres, Quezon, itong bagyong si Ambo. And looking back, nagkaroon ito ng multiple landfalls. Unang-una kahapon nga sa San Policarpo, Eastern Samar, and then sa Dalupiri Island, Northern Samar, and then sa Kapul Island, Northern Samar also. Tikaw Island, Masbate, kaninang madaling araw, 12 a.m. And then dito sa may bandang Burias Island, and then ito nga yung pinakahuli sa San Andres, Quezon. And then at the moment, meron pa rin tayong mga warning signal na nakataas sa iba't ibang bahagi ng ating bansa. We have a warning signal number 3 sa western portion ng Camarines Sur. And then we also have dito sa extreme western portion ng Camarines Norte, sa Burias Island, sa Marinduque, sa eastern portion ng Quezon, at sa eastern portion ng Laguna. Samantala, meron din po tayong warning signal number 2 dito naman sa southeastern portion ng Pangasinan. And then we also have sa Nueva Ecija, sa Quirino, sa Aurora, sa Metro Manila, Tarlac, Pampanga, Cavite, Batangas, Bulacan, Rizal, sa natitirang bahagi ng Laguna, at dito rin sa natitirang bahagi ng Quezon, sa western portion ng Masbate, kasama na nga dyan ng Tikaw Island, sa natitirang bahagi ng Camarines Norte at Camarines Sur, and then we have sa Albay, sa Sorsogon, sa southern portion ng Catanduanes, and then sa eastern portion ng Romblon. So ito po mga areas na may warning signals number 3 and 2 ay makakaranas ng masungit na panahon, maalon hanggang sa napakalong karagatan. So dito sa Metro Manila, bagamat hindi pa rin natin nararamdaman itong masungit na panahon, asahan po natin yung mga pag-ulan at mga paminsan-minsan pagbugso ng hangin sa araw na ito. And also within the next 24 hours hanggang possibly bukas ng umaga. So sa mga kababayan po natin nagtataka, warning signal number 2 po dito sa Metro Manila, pero wala naman, no? So
Yeah.
the concept of raising warning signals is to alert the people as early as possible po habang wala pang gaanong epekto para po mas makakapag-prepare yung ating mga kababayan. Kasi ito po yung usually napa-comment nating mga kababayan, bakit tayo nagtataas ng warning signal? Maganda maaraw pa or wala pang ulan dito. So nire-remind lang po natin yung ating mga kababayan na we have to warn you in advance. Dahil po pag nandiyan na yung ulan or malakas na hangin, ay mahihirapan na po tayo mag-prepare. And lastly, we have warning signal number 1 sa mga lalawigan po ng Cagayan kasamang Babuyan Island. And then dito rin sa Isabela, Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur, sa La Union, sa natitirang bahagi ng Pangasinan, sa Payao, Kalinga, Abra, Ifugao, Mountain Province, Benguet. Ganun din po sa may bandang Zambales, Occidental Mindoro, sa natitirang bahagi ng Catanduanes, sa natitirang bahagi ng Masbate, natitirang bahagi ng Romblon, sa dulong northeastern portion ng Capiz at dito sa may bandang northeastern portion ng Iloilo, and lastly sa western portion ng Northern Samar. Yung mga lugar na may warning signal naman, makakaranas po ng mga pag-ulan at paminsan-minsan pagbugso ng hangin. So kung titingnan po, na base po sa forecast track ng PAGASA, inaasahan po natin na ngayong araw nga ay tatawirin yung sentro ng bagyong si Ambo, itong Quezon Province, and then posibleng dumaan yung sentro sa ilang bahagi ng Southern Luzon, kasama na nga dyan ng Laguna. And bagamat yung sentro ay hindi natin inaasahan na direktang tatama sa Metro Manila, yung lawak po ng bagyo, approximately around 300 kilometers in diameter. Ang ibig sabihin po niyan, kung ang sentro nasa Laguna, mag-plot po tayo ng distance from Laguna, 300 kilometers north, south, west, east, and the entire circumference na mapoproduce natin, yun po yung sakop ng bagyo. Kaya napakarami pong areas na may warning signal tayo. And posible na by Sunday ay tuluyan na po itong lumabas ng landmass ng ating bansa via the Northern Luzon area. So generally mapapansin natin dito sa ating forecast track sa screen ng pagkilos ng bagyo in the next 24 to 48 hours, more on towards the Central Luzon area, then Northern Luzon area. At paglagpas ng landmass, mapapansin natin kikilos na siya pa northeast palayo ng ating bansa. So the next 24 to 48 hours critical, lalong-lalo na po dito sa Northern and Central Zone and portions of Southern Zone including Metro Manila. Kaya sa araw na po ito, as much as possible, stay indoors. Although nasa loob naman talaga ng bahay ating mga kababayan, we have been warning the general public and telling them in advance na may bagyo. Hopefully by this time po, nakapag-ipon na po ng enough supply yung mga kababayan natin para po sa the next 2 days. And at the same time, we have been coordinating with different government agencies, particularly with the NDRRMC, OCD, with the local governments, and hopefully yung mga local government po natin at disaster risk reduction management officers at the municipal level ay nabisuan na rin po ating mga kababayan, lalong-lalo na nga po yung areas na pwedeng direktang maapektuhan nitong bagyong si Ambo.
Okay, Chris, can you please educate our viewers and especially me? Kasi pinapanood ko yung track ng typhoon. Normally,
Yes.
typhoons cross from point A to point B. Usually, tumatawid lang yan ng Pilipinas or curve o diretso. Pero itong Typhoon Ambo, parang turista na masyal and yung sinunod diyang flow is parang double letter S. Sabi ko, paano nangyari yun? Is this unusual? And what explains this pattern of Typhoon Ambo?
Sir, actually, there's nothing special or unusual in this particular movement. The past 2-day movement, kung mapapansin natin mula sa simulang nag-monitor tayo hanggang sa forecast track natin, may mga bagyo po talaga na merong erratic movement. Kumbaga, gaya nga po na nabanggit nila kanina, minsan may bagyo from point A to point B in a straight line. Minsan nangyayari po yon. Meron man pagkataon na they are following some sort of a semicircle movement. Curve na track. But with this one, sabi nyo nga po nila, parang letter S, ito yung sinasabi natin na minsan erratic movement ng bagyo. And nararanasan po natin ito anytime, in any part of the year. Nagkataon lang na pag panahon kasi ng May, yung mga warm months or dry season or summer dito sa ating bansa, normally bihira po tayo nakakaranas ng bagyo. But during the latter part of every year, yung from June onwards, lahat halos ng possible tracks ay pwede nating maranasan. That is why maaaring naninibago po ang mga kababayan natin, uy, may bagyo, panahon ng Mayo or buwan ng Mayo.
Yeah.
Normally, wala naman. Dahil nga po, yung first half of every year, we normally don't experience, or at least, kung magkaroon man po, ay isa lamang. So sa mga darating na buwan, dahil wala naman po tayong nasa na large-scale climate condition, wala po tayong El Niño or La Niña, the second half of every year, kailangan i-remind natin ng ating mga kababayan, usually yun yung mas maraming bagyo na nararanasan sa ating bansa. Minsan 2, 3, minsan 4 pa per buwan. Ang posibleng maranasan, lalong-lalo po sa mga buwan ng June, July, and August.
Okay, what month of the year or what part of the year ang pinakamatindi ang bagyo? Kasi ang general thinking yata last quarter, pag pumasok ang bagyo, paghandaan at gugulpihin ka nan.
Well, climatologically speaking, base po sa records ng PAGASA beginning 1948 onwards, tiningnan natin yung pattern ng mga bagyo on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, and then nagkaroon ng average pattern na nakikita natin yung dominant movement ng mga bagyo. Kaya nasabi natin na yung last quarter of every year, ang usually mas malalakas ang bagyo, nangyayari kasi in terms of intensity, mas maraming tropical storm o kaya typhoon intensity. Malakas po yun kaysa sa tropical depression. Example, itong si Ambo is already a typhoon na category cyclone. At kung mapapansin natin yung mga damages na ginawa nito sa Eastern Visayas via various posts sa social media. Then, aside from mas malakas ang intensity ng bagyo, during the last quarter of every year or the second part of every year, mas marami po ang tumatawid. Lalong-lalo na dito sa Luzon area. Yun po ay base na rin po sa seasonal movement ng mga large-scale weather system. So meron pong particular pattern every month na malaki ang impluwensya sa movement ng bagyo. Pag last quarter of every year, usually more on the central and southern part of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao ang movement. Pero yung early part of the year, more on Visayas, paakyat ng norte papuntang Luzon ang pattern ng mga bagyo.
Okay, Chris, may nakita kasi akong weather forecast sa isang international news show. And sinabi nila na babahain tayo sa Typhoon Ambo kasi ang laki na nga nung sabi mong scale, yung range.
Yes, diameter.
Bagyo, yung diameter. Pagkatapos sabi nila, intense daw yung rains that it will bring. Pero parang hindi naman natin nakikita yon. Ito ba si Typhoon Ambo, mahangin o maulan?
Well, base na rin sa mga na-receive nating weather data the past 24 hours, 12 or 24 hours, may mga areas talaga na makakaranas ng mga matitinding pag-ulan. Bagamat sa forecast natin, ito po yung lagi nating binibigyan din ang bawat bagyo, regardless of category, lalong-lalo na kung nakikita natin na posibleng magdulot ng pag-ulan, malalakas na pag-ulan at malalakas na hangin, i-include po natin lagi sa warning. Ngayon, ito pong si Ambo, typhoon category po ito, napakalakas po ang bagyo nito. I-anticipate po natin both scenarios. Either makaranas tayo ng malalakas na ulan or malalakas na hangin. Bakit po ba? Dahil para pagandaan po natin both scenarios. Kasi pag nag-focus lang po tayo sa malakas na hangin at biglaan nag-ulan, then we will be caught off guard. So,
Yeah.
normally, ang pag-ulan naman, in terms of rainfall na associated with the bagyo, pag sinabi po natin na moderate to heavy, hindi po agad-agad na isang bagsakan lang po yun. Mapapansin po natin, ang bagyo may duration. May ilang araw na tumutumbok or tumatawid sa ilang bahagi ng ating bansa. So, kapag bumagsak yung inaasahan nating ulan, let's say moderate to heavy, sa isang lalawigan, hindi po automatically baha yun all throughout. Alam naman po natin na may mga portions po ang bawat lugar sa Pilipinas na mas mababa kumpara sa mga ibang lugar. For example, dito na lamang sa Metro Manila, no, ang usual na madalas prone sa pagbaha ay itong tinatawag nating Kamanaba area. Kasi mas mababa sila yung elevation ng surface nila kumpara sa ibang part ng Metro Manila.
Correct.
So, same as with any other provinces, pag sinabi po natin na posibleng magdulot ng malalakas na pag-ulan na magdudulot ng pagbaha lalo na sa mabababang lugar.
Yung
At
ating
pagguho
bang-
ng lupa lalo
Okay.
na.
Okay, yung ating bang pantabangan, Angat Dam, etc., makikinabang dito kay Typhoon Ambo o papahid-pahiran lang sila?
Well, sa ngayon po nakita natin kasi itong ina-anticipate natin na malakas na ulan talaga yung malapit sa sentro ng bagyo. If
Yeah.
this particular typhoon will traverse the Angat or Pantabangan area directly, then possibly po yun. Possible po yun. But kung gigiliran lang po, sabihin natin magkakaroon. We are anticipating at least significant increase kahit paano.
Ayun. Okay, well, I won't take any more of your time, Chris. Ang dami kong natutunan this morning and I hope it's the same for our viewers. We really appreciate the services of PAGASA and alam namin na paminsan-minsan kayo nasisita pero by and large your track record in the past year or past few years have been great and we appreciate and we just want to let you know, alam nyo, hindi kayo masyadong kinikilala being frontliners pero kung wala kayo, nanghuhula kami at nangangapa kami. So maraming salamat sa mga tiga-PAGASA, Chris.
Maraming salamat din po sa kanila at sa mga kababayan po natin. Last payo na lang po, manatili po nakatutok sa weather updates ng PAGASA. Every 3 hours po nag-update tayo sa bagyong si Ambo.
Okay, let's say thank you to PAGASA and may you stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you, Chris, at lahat ng mga tiga-PAGASA.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo rin po.
Okay, that's Chris Perez of PAGASA. And please be reminded, there is still a typhoon. You may not believe it, you may not feel it, particularly dito sa Metro Manila. Pero tinitingnan ko lang dyan sa labas ng aming bintana ay makulimlim pa rin at basa ang kapaligiran. And I think in an hour or so, we will really start to feel the signal number 2 in Metro Manila. In any case, that's it for us today. Again, allow me to extend our condolences to the Aquino Oreta families who have lost the former Senator Tessie Aquino Oreta, and she is a friend, and I was kind of hoping I would catch up with her after COVID-19, especially with our small group Bible study before, but she has passed away, and our condolences to the family. In any case, for the rest of you out there, please spend today, this weekend, spending more, doing things, quality things, speaking, talking to your loved ones. If you're with your immediate family, your wife, your husband, now would be a good time to express your appreciation, how you value them, how you love them. Now would be a good time to speak to your children, talk to them about your aspirations for them, and also listen to them. Listen to their fears, their concerns, their aspirations. And more importantly, I would like to encourage all of you out there to do what me, my wife, and my daughter are doing almost every night. We try to do it almost every night. Not perfect, but almost every night we pray. I have a small book where I list the names of people that God reminds me of, who people who ask for prayers. We pray through that book. We just pass it around among us, and we just ask and implore God to take care of them, address their needs. And I ask you, invite you to do the same, because you can have all the money. That's not going to buy you life. You can have the greatest house, doesn't necessarily give you happiness. And in spite of all the governments in the world, we are still fighting a win-lose battle against COVID. And at this stage, we need a superpower, a super reassurance, super hope. We need super God. Thank you. God bless all of you. And please stay strong, stay safe, stay healthy, and take care.